I'm Vladimir Klitschko, and I want to send this message to the boxing fans around the world, and directly to David Haye. David, you've bitched out on fighting both of Klitschko brothers twice already. Now's the time to make it happen. So, on behalf of the boxing fans around the world, I'm officially calling you out to fight me. David, you can't run away from me forever, and you need to follow through with this fight to get respect. I'm ready. What do you wait?
Welcome to another edition of the Will Be Blood Fight Show. I'm your host, Dave Duenas. What's going on, brothers? It's been a minute. I haven't had a chance to really go back and look at some emails or even get on YouTube and check out what's going on the YouTube world and stuff. But I was talking to my boy Blood, and Blood said, hey, have you seen this video of a guy making a video response about leaving in the ring, calling us the David Haye Haters radio show? And I said no. So I decided to watch it and listen a little bit to what this guy had to say. He's named after a Peter Pan character, Smitty. And I said, okay, you know what? He said some things in there, called us a hater, and he had his, list of do's of why we were hating on David Haye. And I said, okay, I want to respond back to him and clarify some of the things that I said, because obviously he listens to the radio show, so he's thinking, oh, you're hating on this guy, which I've heard numerous times, that I hate this fighter, I don't like this fighter, because supposedly I'm not giving him the credit when all I'm doing is raising questions. Okay, so let's roll right into that really quick. Okay, now I was listening to your video, and I'm not really sure if you were making comparisons, but at the same time, I saw even in some of your comments and stuff, you were really kind of backpedaling already. When you say something, stick with it. Don't backpedal, because people will lose respect for you. You said, I'm not making comparisons to Holyfield with David Haye. But you said when Holyfield decided to leave the cruiserweight division, he was a unified cruiserweight champion as well as David Haye was. He got more credit and respect from the Americans. It took him a long time to get that credit and respect from the Americans. So if you checked your history, just like my boy said, check your history, know your history before you speak. Now, Holyfield was not embraced right away in making the decision of going to the heavyweight division. One was because a lot of media and fans felt that Holyfield better days would be in the cruiserweight because he was a small guy, not a big guy. This wasn't a big heavyweight, okay? Secondly, he didn't pack a punch, okay? A lot of guys really were questioning, can he keep the big boys off of him enough, make him humble enough to keep him at bay so that he can work, because he was more considered a guy that was a boxer, not a puncher, a guy that could really outmaneuver you, use some speed, and had good boxing technical skills, okay? So that whole thing about saying, he got more credit and more respect, it doesn't work. I got to close the door on you on that one, because that's not even true. And like I'll go back again, the saying is what my boy said, and I'll quote him again, you better learn your history before you speak. Okay? Now, going back now about David Haye. Now, obviously, you listen to the radio show, so support. I appreciate the support because you're going back in there. So I'm going to refresh a little bit what I had to say about David Haye. I said David Haye really honestly started rabbit punching John Ruiz. For what reasons? I don't understand, because he has all the athleticism and speed and power to really keep the fight from a distance. Not close up and get dirty. There's no reason for him to get dirty in the fight when he has obviously the superior skills and athleticism over a guy that most fight fans refer as Huggy Bear. Doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Now, the other thing I said was this. Okay. I'd like to see him fight the Klitschkos. I'm not really sure if he can beat him. Maybe he can beat Vladimir, because there is a blueprint of beating Vladimir Klitschko, which is pressure him in the beginning rounds, use your athleticism and your power to knock him out. Great. But Batali, honestly, is a completely different beast. A different guy on there. Now, we could sit here and have assumptions of what could happen, but the bottom line is your man didn't step up to the plate when given the chance. Now you have one of the brothers calling him out on video, telling your man that you bitched out and fighting both of them. So that goes right back to what I was talking about, was this, okay? Because I've heard, the two rumors is, one is the stipulations, and it was brought up too on the radio show. Stipulation was, if you fight one brother, defeat that brother, you got to fight the other one. Well, why not? What's wrong with that stipulation? I mean, doesn't your David Haye, want to unify the division? Why do it in increments? He's getting the whole package automatically. So that means he doesn't have to chase anybody else down, because the taking of that whole pie is going to be right there for him to grab a hold of. There is no driving down the street to another store to see if it's open, because it's right there in front of him. So why is that a good excuse? To me, that's an idiot excuse. Let me ask you this. You think Holyfield would have pulled out saying, well, there's a stipulation, I got to fight this champion, then fight another champion to be the heavyweight, recognized heavyweight champion of the world? I don't think so, bro. I highly doubt that. Okay, now we got into Chris the Nightmare Oriella. I had said, yeah, I thought that, if they got in, I could see Chris the Nightmare Oriella beat him. Why not? What has David Haye done? Monty Barrett, so what? You said, I even got an email from a fan one time and said, well, what has Oriella done? Well, he's fought his whole career at what? In the pros, as a heavyweight. Well, your man hasn't. He moved up and fought Monty Barrett. Big deal. He fights a slow, big guy that really, honestly, 7 foot but has no power, has limited boxing skills. Then he fights a 37-year-old man by the name of John Ruiz. Big deal. Where in any of that do you get excited from? I don't get excited from any of it. Chris the Nightmare went against one of the most dangerous heavyweights right now of our era. And if you put any one of those guys, the Klitschko brothers, in any era of our time, they would be dangerous at any era. Okay? So Chris goes against Batali. Batali couldn't knock him out, and Chris pressured him. And we saw something out of Batali Klitschko we never saw out of any of his fights. And that was use what? Boxing skills and fast footwork to get out of danger. My opinion is, with Chris the Nightmare, could he keep a big, strong, young heavyweight off of him? I don't know. I'd like to find out. My prediction would be no. Your prediction would be yes. See? So where's the hate? It's not hate. You even said it. It's my opinion. In your video, you started, this is my opinion. But since it's my opinion, or any of the guys from Leaving the Ring, it's either a racist opinion or because you hate that fighter. No, brother. Got nothing against David Haye. He doesn't pay my bills, I like David Haye. If you go back to my old videos, I actually praised David Haye because I like what he brought. I really thought that him coming into the heavyweight division, he would spark up some new stuff that we need to make people recognize the heavyweight division is a good division to talk about. It's in shambles, but it can be repaired. It's not unfixable. It can be fixed. Okay? Now, the other rumor was he had a bad injury. Okay, why couldn't you postpone it for a later date? There's a fighter right now that just did it. Andre Durrell. He was successful over Arthur Abraham. So what's the problem? What's the big deal? Postpone it. But instead, what did he do? He went after a slower, bigger guy. That was less dangerous. Just because I question what can he do doesn't mean he can't do it. Just because I say he uses his athleticism, and all I want to see if he can. See, I'm not saying he can't do it. I say, can he do it? Can he adjust? That's what we want to see. It's not about hating a fighter. It's about asking questions. It's not about whether he's an exciting fighter. It's whether or not he can accomplish the things that he needs to do. And the criticism comes off of he had the shot, okay? He got a shot, really, honestly, by talking, not by doing. There's a big difference. Holyfield moved from cruiserweight, went to heavyweight division, and had to make enough noise to try to get a championship fight. You or other people say it's because Americans don't like, the British guy coming up. That's ridiculous, because if I'm correct, isn't the Latimer Klitschko's from overseas? Are they not from that soil that you come from? So how can we be hating on David Haye? That doesn't make any sense. So that doesn't even hold any water. I think if anything, people are hating on the politics of boxing because of the fact that we want to see the best fights materialize out there with no excuses.